So I'm going to go over some of the basics of forging and very simple kind of stuff. This is just for the 3D design class and sculpture class. If you want to get more into blacksmithing things, there's some other classes you can look into. But we have a variety of different types of things we can do, and you might not even, for your projects in the sculpture and 3D design, you might not, might do your metal project and not need to heat up the metal to bend and shape it, depending on what kind of metal you're using, especially the thin sheet metal. But if you do want to heat up the metal, I'm going to go over some very basic things. Also, when you're going to use the forge, have me or the lab tech go over it with you in person. There's a number of things that we need to follow to make sure that you don't, it's a safe process. Also, there are some general things that you want to be careful with. You want to dress properly. You don't want to have any kind of synthetics that are melt or tend to burn more readily. Natural fibers, leather, if you have some Kevlar outfit, that works pretty well. And you also want to make sure you have safety glasses and all the other, follow the other safety rules. You might also want ear protection and dust mask, depending on what kind of stuff you're doing. All right. Very basically, we have cross peen hammers you can use a lot with metal to shape it, and also the ball peen hammers can come in handy. All right. That just keeps it really simple.
We also have a variety of different types of tongs for gripping different types of shapes of stock. So we utilize a number of these. So this has a rounded inside area that can grab on the metal. This one has a diamond shape on the inside as well that can grab into the metal, but also on the side, so you can grab it angular at an angle, and then just a kind of a homemade flat. We also utilize sometimes a regular pair of pliers can come in handy, or a vice grips. We went over, remember they lock and unlock. And also for twisting, sometimes we use this as a modified pipe wrench, which maybe I'll try to demonstrate that. All right. These again I can grab from the front with that notched out area, so it grabs on the rounds. You want to make sure you can have a good grip on your metal, but I can also grab it because of this part at an angle. Okay. Things is, this is the anvil. Generally speaking, it's nice to have it about the height of your knuckles when you're standing up straight and when you're leaning over. Also, you should have your safety glasses on. Gloves can be helpful. A leather apron can be good. Solid shoes that are relatively non-flammable. They should cover your toe and your heel. And the rest in between, too. Anyway.
All right, so some basic things. Make sure that the metal is hot, and by hot I mean glowing. So it should have color. On the anvil, it should always be hot. Once it cools down, you should stop. You're making it more, possibly causing more cracking and causing it to become brittle or hardening it. Most of the mild steel, it's not going to be a big issue, but it's just, if you keep quenching it, heating it, and quenching it really hot and overworking it, you can cause it to crack. Want to be careful of your arms. As far as, there's slag, it can be hot. I could have worn longer sleeves there. Unfortunately, it was 108 that day. But also your elbow and your wrist. Try to get a good posture so that you're not damaging your joints. And take your time. If you feel fatigued, stop and take a break. Get some water. So again, make sure the metal is hot when you're hitting it. I don't know if you can see what I'm doing there. I'm flattening it one way and then flipping it and flattening it the other. So you kind of change the overall shape of the metal. So you can have, something more. A lot of you might be even just texturizing your metal. So you can have something different than just the kind of round rod stock to work with. There are also a hardy hole, that little square hole that you can put different types of tools in. That you can also hammer over to get different types of effects or shapes with the metal. Again, and with those two, again, make sure that it's hot. Just be careful that you don't slam your hand down onto them. It's wobbling a little bit. You can also use those in a vise if you need to. and another type of shape to kind of form that goes into that hardy hole to kind of shape into. I don't know if I'm making anything here, just messing around. You can also use this other kind of set of bending prong kind of thing that you can use, and you can come up with something more interesting than that, I'm sure. There's also the swag block, which we worked with the sheet metal, but you can also use it with, definitely can use it with the heated metal. It's thick enough to take it. You can use these types of forms to shape it into it. It helps if you thin out your metal ahead of time, say on the anvil. You'll be able to like then hammer it into those shapes. Just be careful again that you don't hammer it and it slides off and hits your foot. Keep an eye on that. You need to build a better stand. Try to get on that. Another thing you can do is put your metal in, or actually this was a pair of rods that were welded at either end and then put into the, you don't necessarily have to weld them together, it causes it to pull apart there, but you can then twist them together after you heat it up. So that can be kind of create different types of interesting patterns, shapes. If you want to then take that and hammer it out flat. The other thing I'm going to show you or look at is the power hammer. And basically I'll go over it with you individually. It's a very dangerous thing. You could accidentally, if you were to have your hands in there, that would not be good. And there's a lot to running it. There's a foot pedal, but there's also an oiling system that needs to be kept an eye on. So you really want to be careful. But you can see how fast I did something there with that as compared to what I was doing with my hands. So in that twisted part, I can also take that and kind of flatten it. But again, with this, make sure that it's hot. It's kind of hard to see in the sunlight, but it just came over from the forge. You do not want to put cold metal in the power hammer and damage it. Always get guidance first before using any of the using the power hammer or going into forging. Make sure you communicate that with me, and we'll go over it individually. So I also say, you don't necessarily, especially for the 3D design class, you're not necessarily going to be using a lot of the blacksmithing equipment at all. Depends on what your project is. But if you do become interested in this sort of stuff, there's more classes you could take that could teach you more. All right? Take care.